So when I was a young pup, my mother would always tell me to keep my mouth shut if I did not have a good thing to say about someone or something someone was showing me. And this was especially important if I did not know the person too well. So okay, that was a long time ago, and my mother isn't following me around anymore to shush me when I'm about to drop a lead balloon in a conversation. So nowadays, I get to see a lot of businesses for sale, and I see so many entrepreneurs who tend to overvalue their businesses. Now that's to be expected, right? They've put all the blood, sweat and tears and probably a lot of their personal funding and mum and dad's and cousins and neighbours' personal funding as well into the company. So of course they think it's worth a lot. And the entrepreneurs I work with who have partnerships, and for some strange reason, so many partnerships get into big trouble eventually. I'm generalizing here, but a lot of partnerships end up in trouble. I've helped partners split the baby, if you will, and one of the problems that comes into play is figuring out the added value for the company. Should one party buy out the other? And these companies that I'm talking about are quite young in many cases, and what they tend to have is just a little bit of cash flow. They're not rolling in cash flow, they just have debts also. So a lot of times it is a bit of a head scratch to reach and establish a fair value for their company so that both partners are getting a fair shake. Or to reach a valuation for the entrepreneurs who want to just sell the company outright. There is no simple answer to these scenarios. It's always an emotional interplay between the buyer and the seller, because each one has an emotional reason that is an oxymoron, I guess, but it's the way the business is worth something different. That's why the business is worth something different. Let's look at some things that just kind of make sense. First of all, the basis for valuing a business has to be agreed on first, okay, between the partners. And the most standard way, okay, outside of the partnership, is to assume that all the partners are dead, and the lawyers are chopping up and slicing up the business. So when we people die, the tax authority have to come up with a value for that company for tax purposes. It has to be authoritative, because they can't be in court all the time arguing over how much this business is really worth. So the tax system has a formula, and basically what they do is they break a business into two main valuations. One value is the hard net worth, that's the assets minus the liabilities. But the actual balance sheet, the hard net worth of the business, but it's not the numbers of the balance sheet in appraisal value of the assets minus the liabilities. So now you have the assets minus the liabilities, or the net worth of the business. They also recognize, that's the tax authority, that there is a goodwill value there in the business. And the goodwill value is the fact that the business can earn profit over and above a reasonable rate of return on the net worth of the business. So they come up with a formula which we use, by the way, in valuing companies, which puts a value on the assets and takes the extra profit that's made by business and comes up with a capitalized value for that goodwill. Then they add the two numbers together, and that's the number that they end up with as the valuation of the business. So a business that makes $100,000 in surplus profits over and above or reasonable rate of return on the hard net worth might have a $200,000 to $300,000 value attributable to that ability to produce that excess profit. So you add that to the $500,000, let's say, of net worth of the company, and you come up with $750,000 as the value of the company. When a business has profits, it's been around for a while. That's a baseline formula for coming up with a valuation. So what we have is this young business, and the partners didn't work out. The business is barely making any profit at all. It's paying people there a bare living. Maybe there's $10,000 worth of hard net worth in the business. Now, one of the partners wants to leave, and the other partner wants to carry on the business. So how do you split the baby? Well, here's the way we usually work something like that out. See, the hard net worth plus, just say that's the $10,000 number, that's the hard net worth. So we have the buyer come up with either right away or over a short period of time, half of that, which is $5,000, to buy out the hard net worth portion of the partner's business. Then we would look at the profit of the business. So let's say the company's total income, and I'm going to make this number up, let's say it's $200,000 for the year. Okay, that's the net cash flow of the business. And of that, the person who's staying, if they were to go out into the marketplace and become an employee for somebody else at the same level of work and responsibility, what will they make? So let's say in the marketplace that they would make $150,000 as salary in that position. Now, if we take that $150,000, which they are getting because they're working at that level, and we subtract that from the $200,000 that the business is bringing in, then the business is bringing, let's say, $50,000 of income. That's over and above what the owner should be getting paid. So from that $50,000, we might have the owner of the business, the one who's staying on, they pay a portion of that for the next 2 or 3 years to the owner that's leaving, until there is an agreed upon exchange that says, okay, I've given you the business, you've got the momentum, there's a little bit of profit here, you're paying me a substantial portion of that profit for the next year, even though I don't work here and I'm the seller. Now, I don't work here, so now we've taken a portion of that, we've paid it to the person who's leaving. Then, well, from then on, the owner gets going, and the new owner is going on, or the partner is going on with the business. I mean, that's the way of getting around these kind of issues without having to come up with a value that no one's going to agree to. So with strategies like these, it means every time I'm presented with a business owner who wants to sell their business, I can still hear the faint words of my mother shushing me, but I do not have an urge to offend any business owners because, who are showing me their business baby, because I work according to a formula, and not really my opinion.